Hello everybody, welcome back to Critical Point. I am Indy McDaniel. And prepare yourselves for more smutty goodness. And now I have to remember if I can do the fucking voices because it's been a couple days. A few minutes after I had left CIC, there we go, I stopped in my tracks in the middle of the corridor. I thought I had memorized the base layout, but I was thoroughly lost. I had never been on an assignment on a carrier, but this type of experience was probably similar to someone's first time on board one of those, too. Because of Lei Wong, Corporal Shinozuka was not at my side. Or something sexual. That's what I was thinking anyway, when I suddenly heard a strange song coming from farther down the corridor. Well, okay then. Right? Before long, the group of singers came into view around the corner. Oh, no. No, you can't wear that on TV. So, prepare yourselves for what you are now currently seeing, which is the edited screen with the nipples, unfortunately, blackened from your sides. But I'll read for you, don't worry. Don't worry, baby. 5 or 6 female commandos came jogging towards me while singing in unison. It looked as though they were doing their long-distance training inside the base. The singing ain't gonna make a mummy out of me. What a shitty song. The cadence must be a base original. Their outfits were pretty original too. They had weights on their arms and legs to help them cope with the weak lunar gravity, but I wasn't staring at the weights. Oh no. Well, not those weights, anyway. I understood that. However, the clothing was the real problem. They were wearing regular commando pants, but their upper torsos were covered with nothing but the heat exchange mesh worn under a space suit. Not only did this reveal a lot of skin, you could even see their breasts bouncing as they ran, right down to their nipples. There might not be many men on this station to stare at them, but this was a bit much. They must not think anything of it, though. But that line of reasoning didn't apply to me. I called out to the lead female commando. "Hey, sugar tits, want to suck on my knob?" Is not what he said. She broke from their ranks and approached me. "You wanted to see me, Captain?" "I want to ask you something." She glanced back at the end of the column and signaled for them to continue on their way. That's Japanese for huh? Disgruntled voices came from the line of girls as they ran, their tits bouncing in unison. "Hurry up and get going, Diana. The captain has something he wants to talk to me about," said the lead girl. "Aww," said Diana. "Hey, move it. 1, 2, 1, 2," said the lead girl. "Macho's got a nice body," they sang. This group must really find me interesting. They turned and glanced back as they went down to the corridor. "Oh, you just aren't YouTube appropriate, Missy." The lead commando girl remained standing before me, and I remained standing at attention. Now that she was standing here, I noticed the smell of her sweat mixed with something sweetly acidic, because that usually goes together, those two things. Her face was flushed, and her posture as she stood at attention enhanced the shape of her well-formed breasts. Even though I had just witnessed something horrible a few minutes ago, the blood began rushing to my loins. Not good. I diverted my gaze from her upper body to her semi-nakedness, more enticing than if she were fully nude. I began asking my questions before I embarrassed myself. You are...
トレポット伍長であります。
Sir, Corporal Trepo, sir, said the lead girl. Captain Osumi, technical advisor. I was just assigned here a short while ago.
臨時シャトルでありますか。補修機材だけだと思っておりましたが。
On the unscheduled shuttle? I thought it was just supplies, said Trepo. I'm something of a new supply myself, haha. Huh? Said Trepo. Trepo shot me a dubious glance. I ignored that and asked her the question that had made me interrupt her training. I'd like you to tell me how to get to I'd like you to tell me how to get to my assigned compartment. I don't know my way around yet.
お安いご用です。自分がご案内します。
That's not a problem. I'll show you myself, said Trepo. If you could just tell me the way. Before I could finish my sentence, she had already started running rapidly down the hall. She hadn't even asked me for the specific location of my compartment.
こちらです。態度の。
This way, Captain, sir, said Trepo. I was a bit perplexed. She hadn't even known that I had just been assigned here, but she knew where my compartment was located. It must be in a special area of the base, specifically reserved for guests such as myself. While I considered that explanation, I hurried to catch up with her. Corporal Trepo guided me unerringly to my compartment. The door responded to my personal badge and let me enter. Thank you, Corporal. You were a big help. Big bosoms, big tits, big boobies. I'm sorry, what was I saying? As I walked into my quarters, after offering her my thanks, Trepo entered behind me for some reason.
何かお手伝いすることはありませんか。
Is there anything else I can help you with? asked Trepo. She stood there before me, questioning me with her chest thrust forward to emphasize her tits. Her nipples were erect. It must be from rubbing against her mesh while training. No, nothing right now. Weren't you supposed to be in training? She looked up at me like a displeased child. Proper thanks should wait until we are both off duty. With that, her chrome yellow eyes sparkled.
本当ですか、態度の。
You
そうで
mean
す
it?
よ。
Sorry. You mean it, Captain, sir? It's a date, said Trepo. After expressing her pleasure, she straightened to attention and saluted me.
トレポット伍長、退出します。
Corporal Trepo, now leaving, said Trepo. She turned to leave the room, or so I thought. She had hurriedly scribbled something down and handed it to me before leaving, though. The memo was Corporal Trepo's compartment location and work hours. She couldn't have fallen for me in such a short space of time. I don't recall being this popular back on Earth. There aren't many male crewmen on this base. According to the records I read prior to departure, there are only 3, and one of them is dead now. In a place like this, the girls could be fighting for guys. Not only Trepo, but Sui was really hitting on me before she was shot. The guys from the shuttle must really be enjoying their stay. Now I was alone. At last, I took a survey of my room. The bed was made up nicely. Rico must have done that. A small writing desk. My bags were beside the desk. A standard multi-purpose terminal. The minimum necessary equipment. Oh well, at least it's better than a ship's officer's quarters. So, what should I do now? I asked myself. Because I'm insane? In the membrane. Moving on. Before I could think of anything, there was a sound outside my door. It sounded like someone had just fallen down. The monitor came online and displayed the face of a girl.
篠塚伍長です。お待たせしました。
The girl in the monitor was breathing heavily. No question about it, she ran here. Did I call for you?
タイが入室されると信号が来るようになっています。ご用は
Nothing right now.
お食事を用意しますか。
What should I do? Have Rico order dinner for me? I don't need anything right now. Have Rico order dinner for me. Well, I suppose I might as well eat now. That I've seen some poor girl's brains splattered all over the wall of CIC. The incident in CIC was of no concern. I am not so sensitive now that a dead body or two will keep me from eating. Isn't that what I just said? You're crazy. If you wouldn't mind.
はい、それじゃあ
Good.
お邪魔させていただきます。
Suit yourself. I was really tired of ship combat rations. I had high hopes for the base food. Except... Rico came in and trotted up to the terminal. I have an uneasy feeling about this.
和、洋、中華、インドネシア、タイ、その他何でもできますが。
Well, of course we can. It's a sex game. I could go for sashimi.
すみません、生ものはダメなんです。
She's really bothered by this. It figures. In that case, how about katsudon and miso soup?
お任せください。
I will. Rico tapped at the keyboard more than 3 times faster than I could possibly have done. Did she really have to do that much typing on the keyboard just to order from the menu? Any way you looked at it, though, whatever came out of the machine had to be just as bad as long-distance spacefight food, even if it didn't look as bad. A poor imitation from long-term stored synthetic pork with imitation breading put together with food coagulant. A few minutes later, a chime sounded. Something on a platter slid out of what I had thought was just an air duct. Rico took the tray and served me as though it was a dish for a grand banquet.
さあ、タイ、座ってください。
I will. I sat down across the table from her. I glanced at the tray while Rico watched my expression with anticipation. It was a square-shaped, high-impact-resistant tray with a cup of matching material. No one really gives a shit about this. I just figured I'd say it anyway. Not really something that went with katsudon and miso soup. However, as I opened the lid gingerly, as though I was a ginger, expecting whatever was inside to fall apart, an aroma engulfed me that I would never have imagined. I tasted it. It tasted almost like the real thing. Hey! I yelped in surprise.
いかがですか？
Great! Almost like the real thing. Almost.
よかった。もともとのメニューにないものは細かく調理器に指示しなきゃいけないんです。
Very well then. I see, and here I thought she was just having trouble. I was curious, so I decided to ask a few questions. What would happen if you messed up the instructions?
とんでもないものが出てきます。あははは。
Neither do I. Isn't there a mess hall on the base?
はい、無駄を極力排除するために手料理は作れないことになっています。
By waste do you mean poopy? It would sure be a waste if Rico had made something unthinkable with her tinkering.
もっともサバイバルキットには簡易調理器具が入っているそうですが。
Ugh. I don't want to ever be in such a fix that I'd have to use that. At any rate, it sure had been ages since I tasted katsudon. I was certainly grateful. Rico was smiling at me. Aren't you going to eat, Rico?
お待ちしている間に食べちゃいました。
Because that's not creepy and stalkery at all. Looking at her closely, I noticed there was a grain of rice on her collar. I don't see it, it's not there. You're hallucinating, old chap. She must have gotten it on her while she was eating. Just like a kid, she sure doesn't look like a soldier. That was great. I just had a meal seldom seen on a military base, and it certainly was filling. Rico put the empty dishes in the trash chute and pressed a button. With a clattering sound, the dishes were whisked away someplace.
他にご用はありますか？
Your sweet ass. I mean, nothing that I can think of.
私はサポート係なんですから、遠慮せずに何でもおっしゃってください。
Does anything include your sweet ass? I mean, you might have to look out for your guests, but you don't have to go that far.
そうですか？
Yes, I'm not sure. Yes, no, sweet ass, please, thank you. Since she was so insistent, I decided to play a little joke on her. Well, if you were to spend the night with me, that would be a different matter, with your sweet ass. Rico looked startled. It must have been quite a shock for the geeky girl.
はあ？おとぎですか？タイ が眠るまでおとぎ話をするのでしょうか。ご希望ならしますけど。
No, that's not what I want at all. Damn, I forgot that she isn't too good with words, or speaking, or sex. No, I meant something a bit different, actually quite different, just forget about it.
Huh?
I'll call you if I need anything.
はい、それでは失礼します。
Rico had a perplexed look on her face as she left my room. I sat down on the bed, completely stuffed from the food I had just eaten. This wasn't supposed to be a difficult assignment, but I had already had corpses on my hands. There's really no safe job for a soldier at war, hahaha. My fake arm was proof positive of that fact. The monitor roused me from my musings. Lei Wong appeared on screen.
通常連絡。現在 CIC 要員の交代システムを調整中です。
It looked like Wong's earlier agitation had disappeared. Her cold, businesslike voice showed no sign of emotion. She continued.
技術顧問の大隅礼二隊は明日地球標準時1000までに CIC に出頭してください。
Hey, what about that incident?
通常連絡。現在 CIC 要員の交代システムを調整中です。
I wanted to know more about the incident at CIC, but Wong's monitor image just repeated the same message. It looks like it's just a recorded notice. What a bitch. I looked at the clock on the terminal. It was 2:02 Earth Standard Time. I was fatigued from my trip. I'd better go to bed now. Even turning off the monitor was too much effort. I collapsed onto the bed. I'm gonna cut it here. At the alarm, awoke at the alarm tone from the monitor. So there's Critical Point episode 3. And no sex, but plenty of titties that have had to be edited. Nips. Damn you, soldier bitches. Oh well. So until next time, I am Andy McDaniel. Thank you for watching. See you.